Mr. Sick, well I am. I'm whatever that you say I am. I'm whatever that you say I am. I'm whatever that you say I am. You say I'm dead on the inside. I'm feeling dead on the out. I don't need any insight. So please, baby, shut your mouth. I've been dancing with the thought of losing it. I'm losing it. So say what you want, say what you can. 'Cause I'm whatever that you say I am. I'm whatever that you say I am. I'm whatever that you say I am. Kick my addiction, I'm just another victim of people trying to tell me who I am. Who am I? Procrastination and lack of motivation, 'cause I don't really even have a plan. What's my plan? God forgive me, I'm sinning again. I'm whatever that you say I am. Doctor says don't be alone, well I am. I'm whatever that you say I am. I'm whatever that.
The Morning Fix live radio show will begin shortly. For your best news coverage and commentary, tune in daily at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on The Morning Fix. The Morning Fix live radio show will begin shortly. Thank you for watching this show. You mean so much to me in building this radio show. When I started this endeavor about a few months ago, I figured I'd rather be all in. And I can't be all in without you. So I want to say a special thank you because you make the Morning Fix live radio show happen. So make sure you subscribe, click that notification bell so when we go live, you're able to get that notice right to your device. Also, be sure to tune into our other social media platforms. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitch. I have a Twitter account, Macho Fix. You could also find all those links in my Twitch account at Morning Fix. Thank you. All right, welcome to the Morning Fix live radio show. It is Hump Day, 10:11 Eastern Standard Time. It is the 12th. So this is a very special day, by the way. We'll get to that in a few moments. October 12th, 2022. It is 61 degrees here in New York City. It is a beautiful sunny day, and we can't kick this show off right without Inked. What's going on?
Good morning.
How we doing?
I am doing well. I mean, it's a little chilly this morning, but that's my kind of weather.
Did Did you hear that little glitching on the opening?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
It's me. All right. I gotta fix it. It's all right. I try.
I was like, why is he glitching?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's that
Anyways.
it's that McDonald's Wi-Fi you got over there.
Yeah, it is. Whatever. Let's do our morning rounds here. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Brian. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Frank. How you doing? Good morning, Heather.
Good
Who else we have? We have
morning.
Kathy in the building. What's going on? Good morning.
Barracuda.
That's right. It is a funeral day, I guess. If there needed to be one, I don't know how it would still need to be so to describe it to be the funeral day. I think BLM was proven to be done a long time ago. Okay. I don't know why we're still on it, but Candace Owens is probably going to put this to bed if you asked me.
Yeah. I mean, maybe. Let's hope so.
Let's hope. One could only hope.
Jesus, this fucking thing this morning. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
It looks like
you know what I had.
Listen, the way you're messing with it though. It looks kind of strange. So just putting that out there. Just like
slow your roll. It's because some friends kept me up extremely late last night. So
no, don't put that on anybody.
I can't
put
function
that on anyone.
Oh yeah. I think I got 2.5 hours, 3 hours of sleep.
Oh, you acting like you a young girl in your 20s, huh?
No, I'm not acting. I recognize exactly how old I am. I'm feeling every bit of it this morning. I'm not going to mention any names, but yeah, I had a couple people that kept me up way past my bedtime.
That was all on your own doing. So
is that right?
That's right. That was all on your own doing. So own up to it. All right.
Cool. All right. Let's do this.
All right. So I wanted to play that soundbite of Tim Ryan doing the quote unquote because he really got caught out there.
Yeah.
Made a statement, and JD Vance was like, "Wait, what company?" You know. But this was a statement he made because he really didn't have anything. So he went for the Hail Mary, and this is what he went to. He went for the insult here.
Called into question the presidential election. That's a threat to our democracy. And running around with people who want to ban books and get the government in our bedroom and in our doctor's offices. But I tell you what I think politically is a huge threat to our democracy. And that's guys that don't have the guts to stand up to their own party. Okay? Now, I've run against Nancy Pelosi. I have taken on Bernie Sanders. I have opposed Joe Biden on numerous pieces of legislation that he wants to try to promote and push. And I've agreed with Donald Trump on trade, renegotiating NAFTA, being firmer on China, defense, General Mattis being Secretary of Defense, and all the rest. And I think the problem is...
All right. Hold on a second.
I was wondering when you was going to cut that. I mean,
because I was over here messing around with my headphones because, I'm having a little issues. But irregardless, I never heard of this man before this. So you could tell me whatever you want. What?
No, go ahead.
I mean, this guy could say whatever he wants on this debate stage. Says, yeah, I went up against Bernie. I went up against all these people in the party. Where's the receipts? Because I've never heard of you before today. So yeah, you could say whatever you want on this stage. Like this.
Did you forget it was in that company, where you traded? That's where he's been. He has all the facts, remember?
Got it. Yeah. All right, let's see what else we got here.
When you have guys like JD Vance who can't stand up to anybody, like just a few weeks ago in Youngstown, on the stage, Donald Trump said to JD Vance, all you do is kiss my ass to get my support. He said that. That's bad because that means J.D. Vance is going to do whatever he wants. Mitch McConnell's given him $40 million. He's going to do what he wants. And Peter Thiel gave him $15 million. He's going to do what he wants. And here's the thing that's most troubling about this, lack of courage, is that after Trump took J.D. Vance's dignity from him on the stage in Youngstown.
He's basically saying he castrated him. Okay. Because he's now resorting to insults. We'll remind you guys, Stick around because we're going to remind you why he resulted to the insult.
J.D. Vance got back up on stage and started shaking his hand, take a picture, saying, hey, aren't we having a great time here tonight? I don't know anybody I grew up with. I don't know anybody I went to high school with that would allow somebody to take their dignity like that and then get back up on stage. We need leaders who have courage to take on their own party. And I've proven that. And he was called an ass kisser by the former president.
The question is the biggest threat to democracy.
Sure.
If you would like to.
Wait. So we're just going to gloss over and not give the man the chance to respond. But let's remind everybody, shall we? Can we remind everybody how bad it was before this? This guy needed this Hail Mary so bad. Because
was that a Hail Mary?
It was a Hail Mary. And he failed. I mean, he threw deep.
I got swatted out of the air.
He threw it real deep, and it went to it was intercepted. It wasn't swatted out of the air. It was intercepted. Look, I want you guys, and Frank, everybody, I want you guys to see how bad this looks when you get caught. Look at this.
Venture capital fund investments. You invested into China. And you have the audacity. You have the one that ships jobs from China to manufacture things that go to, like, I don't know if it's Vail or some kind of ski.
You don't know?
No. That wasn't the best part. The best part is when he responded and said, go ahead, let it play.
You want that? You want to get to see? You don't want to like build up to it. You don't want to build up to it. You want to just get to the end. Like
sometimes.
Okay. Jesus.
Resort or something like that.
Your consultants gave you this line, and you don't actually know it.
I'm telling you, JD, you've not denied investing into China, and you're talking about illegal immigrants.
So what did he say? What did he say, Keisha?
Rewind that back one more time. That's my
favorite. Yeah. The problem is, and you know why we lose jobs like that? Because guys like you, JD, make money off of investing in China. He, in his first venture capital fund investments, you invested into China. And you have the audacity.
What company?
The one that ships jobs from China to manufacture things that go to, like, I don't know, Vail or some kind of ski resort or something like that.
Your consultants gave you this line, and you don't actually know it.
I'm telling you, JD, you've not.
My favorite.
I mean, okay. Now, I want everybody in the chat, be honest, be straight. I know AJ's honest, number one. So let's go like this. Was the ass kicker insult worse than this? JD never resorted to any kind of insult in the entire debate, folks. I mean, like, in the entire debate. The man came in, he stood to his ground. He said, this was my point. This is where I stand on abortion. This is where I stand on businesses. This is where I stand with the Ohioans. And this is my track record. He never resorted to any kind of insult.
He didn't have
Instead, he allowed, exactly. He didn't have to. He allowed for Tim Ryan to bury himself, to which now he has to resort to insult. And now you want to move to the next topic of freaking, what was it that he said? Now we want to move to the topic of extremism. Really? Extremism? That's how bad it is. Y'all had to throw a life vest out for Tim Ryan. Come on.
Well, again, like I said yesterday, they are speaking on points that are not relevant to the time. Gas here has gone up a whole $1 since the last time I got gas, but I don't remember when that was. So
get this woman on a debate stage, please. Get her up on there. You should be up there. You should be up there. Because this is ridiculous.
The thing is, why are we talking about the shit that don't matter? But okay.
Yeah, because now here's where we're going to talk. Now we're talking about a president who's not in office.
Right.
To a babbling buffoon, but you want to talk about him being an ass kisser. Are you calling out Joe Biden right now, Tim? No, you're not. Instead, let's see what this whole nonsense goes to here.
Answer that first, and then you can respond to some of his accusations.
So I will answer the question, Colleen, because I think it's important for the voters for us to actually answer the questions. But first of all, I'm not going to take lectures on dignity and self-respect from a guy caught on video kissing up to Chuck Schumer and begging him for a promotion to his next job. That's the kind of guy that Tim Ryan is. Now, he just said, it's so funny, we're getting close to Halloween, and Tim Ryan is put on a
do your nails.
Where he pretends to be a
Do your nails, buddy. Go ahead.
Reasonable moderate. But in fact, He said he stands up to his own party. The last 2 Congresses, Tim, you voted for Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden 100%. You consistently toe the party line on every single issue. I wish that you were the reasonable moderate. You said you were, because then Youngstown may not have lost 50,000 manufacturing jobs during her.
And that's how you stay in. He kept saying we lost 50,000 jobs. You can hurl the insults. I got the track record. You've been in office. I have not. That's why I'm going to replace you. Great job, JD. Great job. Wow, look at that face of defeat. Does that look like the man that took the W right there?
Well, I mean, I could describe it as other things, but sure.
What is it? What would you describe it as? Go ahead.
It doesn't matter. Yes, that looks like the man that took the loss.
It does, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, good.
He's
Let's
an
see what
idiot.
we have in the chat. He got sunned. Who got sunned?
Who do
Let's
you
see
think?
what AJ said. Who got sunned? Who you think? Let me see if you really on the same page with AJ. Let me see.
Well, first of all, I'm always on the same page as AJ. At the end of the day, we text the same things to each other, like almost verbatim.
Oh, I even got to witness that last night. I was like, wow, that's pretty scary. I've seen that over conversation, but I've never seen that over text. That's just straight up weird. Strange behavior, I'll tell you that much.
I mean, it is what it is. Me and we are like in sync, like bow. Like, yeah, that part.
Can we get the mix drop at the end?
What happened?
Can we get to the mix drop at the end? Christina's
Who said that,
asking
AJ?
for a request. No. What is that?
I don't know. Christina, elaborate.
Christina, can you elaborate for us, please? Thank you.
You're so nice there. Please and thank you. I was just like, can you?
Well, you
elaborate?
have to be nice. Be nice to the customers. You can't just be
it's
yo,
Christina.
no.
It's Christina. Oh, the mic.
Oh, can we get the mic drop at the end? Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe I might throw that in the edits for the show. I might throw that in there. All right. So, Jonathan Isaac, are you familiar? Basketball player, plays for the Magics. Come on now.
No.
All right.
What are you
So
gonna say
Jonathan
about
Isaac made some noise a couple of years ago when he refused to wear a Black Lives Matter t-shirt and refused to kneel on the court, which I don't blame him, because who wants to kneel on a hard-ass wood court, right?
Why are we kneeling? But anyways,
And who are we bowing before?
that part.
Right? I only bow to God. I ain't bowing to no. Stop it. Yeah. So he explains here on this PragerU episode why he refused to kneel. Check this out.
Talking about it for a few days before that, and we had a team meeting early on, and guys said, you know what, this is what we want to do. We want to kneel. And it turned into a team-only meeting. And one of my teammates turned towards me and says, Jonathan, what are you going to do? And I said, fellas, I'm not going to put that t-shirt on. I'm not going to kneel. And, chaos broke out. And, oh, my gosh, this is going to be crazy. It's going to be everywhere. But I knew what I was standing for was dear to me. I knew I believed that the gospel was going to be the answer for the world, that all of us saying that we all fall short of God's glory, and that if we're throwing stones at anybody else, at a different color, at a different individual, we're throwing stones from a glass house because we've done wrong too. We all in need of grace. And
so this is why he didn't kneel, because one, he doesn't kneel before man, he kneels before God. And this is a man cause, not a God cause. The Black Lives Matter t-shirt only singles out one particular group of people. It's not unifying. Now, why am I bringing this up? What happened last night? I mean, I wish I was screen recording what was going on, but on both sides of the aisle, I think we get a big 0. I mean, what the heck happened last night? I'm going to magnify this because I want y'all to hear me. We get a major 0 yesterday when you have on one side of TikTok, their side, and that was revealed too. I started thinking, I was like, their side, our side. Wow, look at that. That's fine. It's cool to have the sides, but can we ever come to the other side to have the conversation? I'm not a kumbaya guy. You guys know that about me. Keisha's not. AJ's not. We're not kumbaya people. We're not here to say, let's grab our guitar, start strumming, and we're all together unified. We think the same. We eat the same foods. We eat at the same restaurants, and we sleep in the same hotels. No, absolutely not. But can we actually have a conversation void of emotion? I probably would say to you, based on what I witnessed last night, I would say no. Keisha, what would you say?
Well, AJ was singing Kumbaya, I think.
Oh, he was probably doing that.
No, I think he was singing it in the second live. I do believe he was singing it. Let's be honest. On the other side, in this particular scenario, it's the black side of TikTok. So I guess we're not black. That's what was stated in that live. Secondly, the problem that I'm seeing is all emotionally driven. So when you don't agree with me, you're everything other than your name.
Right.
And that's really what it boils down to. It came down to disagreement of opinions. And when you're being trolled and you don't recognize you're being trolled and you still get emotional and worked up, that's a bigger problem. So I'm in the space and the place in the toxic clock app that we just have to recognize that some people are never, ever, ever really here to have a meeting of the mind. They're just here to be right.
I hate to say it. I hate to agree. By what I witnessed yesterday, it looked just like that. On one hand, you have an emotional arguments pulling at the heartstrings and just trying to get people convinced of your reality, not about a reality. Right? It was not neutralized. It was not something that we all could come into a common ground and go, I see what you're talking about, but it may not quite not be like that. How can we get to the better place? And then on the other hand, what else do we have? People not knowing how to break out of their tribalism. Turns around and they go, well, I want to talk to this person. Oh, no, I don't want to talk to that person. Well, nobody asked you, and you're not monitoring this entire thing. I want to ask a question to this person because I want to get to a bigger point in the conversation, move the discussion.
Okay,
and people can't take themselves out of that. Now they go, oh, no, don't talk to me like that. And now it's all about how you addressed me. And now we have to have a bulldog come in and defend them. A bulldog.
Yeah. Well, here's the other dynamic of that. They don't, like I said, they don't want to have a discussion, right? So if you're not emotional, you hear
on both
people.
sides.
Yeah, if you're not emotional, you hear people, right? And then you respond accordingly, right? But the problem is you're taking it personal when someone speaks, right? So it's like you choose to wear a White Lives Matter shirt or White Lives Matter 2 shirt, and that's a problem, right? So just because I don't agree with it, why am I attacking you on its face? Why am I calling you racist? Why am I telling you you're not black? Why am I telling you you don't support the black community? How can you be black, walking around every day in black skin and not support black? You sound stupid as fuck.
Can we stop doing that? Can we
No,
stop
it's
that
not weed.
ultimatum?
Yeah, it's not weed.
I mean, you know what I mean by weed.
Yes, I
I'm
do
just
know what
saying.
you mean, but that's
Yeah.
really what it amounts to, right? So when you stop and you pause for a minute, every time we see these types of situations, it's the same thing. You're not for black people. 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 How can I not be for black people, bitch? I'm black. Like, that's the part that I will never understand. And I also don't understand why it is necessary to attack and tell us we are giving our infamous white supremacist ideology when we're black. So if you can't,
So
go ahead.
the problem that I have is either you're doing for the white man or you're doing against the white man. I don't give a damn about the white man. If I'm calling out the community or calling out how I see it, I'm just calling out how I see it. I don't care about. I never said anything about bettering the. This is another thing I hear. Just the other day when I was on the live, this person is like, "Oh, they don't ever talk about how we better the community." I never even said about anything about bettering the community. I'm just telling you what I see. and you want to tell me I don't see that.
Right.
And then you want to argue and say, well, that's anecdotal. That's fine. But still, you're going to be confronted with the truth of what I see. When I take
Correct.
you to the areas I've been to, when I take you to the areas that I live around, like I said the other day, Keisha, I was on the phone with Duchess
Mhm.
one night. And as I'm talking to her, she hears a couple of pop, 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 pop.
Right.
And she's like, was that what I think? I said, yep, that's a gunshot. Those are gunshots. And she's like, that's just how it is. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
And I kept the conversation moving forward because that's what happens. Now, you're not going to tell me, you're not going to tell Duchess, you're not going to tell Ink, you're not going to tell AJ, that's not what we heard and that's not what we saw.
Correct.
So now where do we move the conversation forward? Because we sit there and we go, we hear from the Mr. Joneses, we hear from Genchis, we hear from I Speak and Consciously that's actually an over dramatizing of the truth. Really? Because now you are making what reality is delusional and making your reality something that is now general truth. Because that's not how you want your community depicted, right? Because you're tired of the negative
Correct.
depiction of your community. So now we're going to repackage the community. It says, those were not gunshots. That dying body that you see on the floor, that's not a dead body. No. Don't look at that. Look at this. Look at what they're doing to us. Look at why we're in this predicament. Look at why this person had to shoot that person. Why this happened. This will all be solved if they get their boot off our neck.
Well, and you know that, and I think the saddest part too, like even watching all of the chaos of last night, ultimately we're in a position where, like I said, no one really wants change. No one really wants understanding. People just want to be right. So if you enter into a space where everyone is black, how do you deny the next person their reality, right? How do you tell the next person who looks just like you that's not true? If we thought this is why we have this space of liberals and white saviors. This is why that's happening, because they're in these spaces. Exactly. They're in these spaces and they see them say these things, right? They literally said on this side of TikTok, the black side of TikTok. Excuse me? I'm sorry, what? Like,
we have
what's the
black
reality
talk.
here,
We have
right?
black talk.
And, yeah, the black talk, right?
Mhm.
Ultimately, that's probably the most judgmental side. That's probably the most toxic side, because that's the side you enter that space and they just come for your neck because you are, as a black person, don't have the same ideologies as they have. They are blind, they are dumb, and they don't want change. All they want to do is open their mouth and speak to somebody who will listen. And that's the reality. You can watch their lives all day long. Nothing they're saying, from Voodoo Bay to everyone, they think how they speak is supposed to make it more angelic and more factual, I guess. It's not about change. It's not about fact. If you go in there and you start to talk about black on black crime, they'll tell you it's proximity, this and that. Really? Come on. We are the people. If we can't have the open, honest conversation with ourselves, how do we expect anyone else to do it? If we don't respect ourselves, how do we expect anyone else to respect us? Get out of here. Like, it's played. It's tired and it's ridiculous.
Like AJ would say, I'm bored. What else?
That part.
So I mean, at some point we have to come to grips and realize that this is not solving the issue, right? And in all honesty, agree to disagree and say, okay, I stand on this side, you stand on that side of the argument. How can we use both sides of the argument to solve the problem?
But here's the thing, right? They never actually present a problem. Why is wearing a White Lives Matter 2 t-shirt a problem?
Or how do we connect the fact that women die of child rearing? How do we racialize that?
Okay, no. Let's take one step at a time.
Okay.
How is wearing a White Lives t-shirt 2 a problem? You see, they're creating a problem where there isn't one. So if you're creating a problem where there isn't one, there is absolutely no way, at no point, at no time can you have a discussion and a conversation, because they are so hyper focused on nothing that they can't focus on something. So there's no conversation to be had. If you're upset with somebody because they wore a t-shirt, and then you want to say by wearing that t-shirt that it's denouncing the movement of Black Lives Matter and the importance of Black Lives Matter, but you're black. And then when you add the two to it, they want to negate that, right? They want to be like, no, that doesn't matter. It's about Black Lives Matter. You're doing this and you're doing that. You see? So really, what is the problem? Let's have that discussion. What actually is the problem? Is it that the black man wore the t-shirt? What's the problem? Because you're making an issue out of nothing. Yeah. But you're making an issue out of nothing. If you really think about that, right, Macho? Like, if you stop and you say, okay, if you ask them and you say, okay, we watched the video, what's the problem?
Yeah.
If he takes the t-shirt off and he never wears it again, you've still called him all these names. You're still going to feel some kind of way about him. What is the actual problem, and what are we trying to address here? So I don't know why we entertain these asshats.
Well, we're really not going to get progress if we don't deal with. You can't fix stupid, but you got to confront it. That's all I'm saying.
That
You
part.
know what I
All
mean?
right.
But the one thing that I would say that really riled them all up,
Yes.
Joe Patrick hit him with a smack dab of truth with an open palm, not a closed fist. He literally said, "Why would I want to hang with you people?" And they all get hung up on the "you people" as if, oh, you're talking to us like you're not black. Now you recognize this blackness. When you said, no, he's an agent of white supremacy. But he says, why would I want to hang out with you people when all you do is call me names and berate me?
That part.
It's natural. It's actual fact. Why would I want to hang out with any person that wants to berate, that wants to yell, scream, and dominate a conversation like the Bulldog, who I refuse to name his name, right? He comes in and he wants to be entitled. That's on the other side of on the other argument here. You want to dominate. You want to trump over people. You want to be heard. Well, I'm sorry. There are many other voices here that can speak. And you don't have to be the defender of everyone. Last time I checked, the other people in that live had mouths. So they were doing just fine making themselves look crazy. Now you're adding to that crazy. That's all I'm saying. So that's all I would say on the matter of that. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Nonsense. All right, we're back here on the Morning Fix Live radio show. I'm Macho. That's Keisha.
I'm actually the other way on the screen.
Other way, this way on the screen.
Yeah, get it right.
All right. So, by the way, about the merch, it is out right now. You can go to AJ's Rant Room at ajsrantroom.com and be able to get the Morning Fix merchandise, get your mug, get your t-shirt. It's not that expensive. You probably spend more on TikTok gifts and on YouTube, whatever, and buying food than you would at AJ's Rant Room. All together. I put money on that. It's not going to break the bank when you go there. And plus, you get free shipping if you spend over $100. So go to AJ's Rant Room at ajsrantroom.com and get yourself a mug and a t-shirt. There's only a couple of more days before the Morning Fix OG stuff is out there. After that, the OG brand is gone. On to bigger, better things. So go to ajsrantroom.com and support the movement and vision. All right, so I want to talk about this person, Tulsi Gabbard, who came out yesterday, made this public declaration. As we hinted on it yesterday, we talked about it yesterday, and we're going to now get more deeper as she herself explains here how she left the Democrat Party.
I can no longer remain in today's Democratic Party that's under the complete control of an elitist cabal of warmongers who are driven by cowardly wokeness, who divide us by racial.
Just the first, what is this? 12 seconds in.
Yep.
Wait. Wow. She said warmongers, woke cowards. Jesus, she holds no punches here. Okay.
Every issue and stoking anti-white racism, who actively work to undermine our God-given freedoms that are enshrined in our Constitution, who are hostile to people of faith and spirituality, who demonize the police but protect criminals at the expense of law-abiding Americans, who believe in open borders, who weaponize the national security state to go after their political opponents, and above all, who are dragging us ever closer to nuclear war. Now, I believe in a government that's of the people, by the people, and for the people. Unfortunately, today's Democratic Party does not. Instead, it stands for a government that is...
Look, I'm not surprised. Are you surprised by this, Keisha?
No.
No, not surprised. Because
I'm not sure I believe it, but I'm not surprised.
Well, I mean, I would say I'm not surprised only because I've been hearing her speak a certain way for more than a year.
Yes.
Okay, so this is not just like, what was the other guy over in Georgia? Is it Von Jones? Not Von Jones. Is it Von Jones?
I don't remember. It's neither here nor there.
Yeah, Von Jones, I think he did the little quick switch.
Martin coming out. AJ. Yes, not surprised. Oh, Vernon Jones.
Vernon Jones, yeah. He did the little quick switcheroo so quick. And that's where I would go. Slow down. I want to see you for a while. And Tulsi has done the right thing by waiting over a year to do what we all thought and knew was going to come. But we don't know where she's going. We don't know if she's going to become an independent. Is she going to become a Republican? What do you think the next steps are?
Honestly, I don't care. If I'm going to be truthful, it's not about the title in which she carries. If she's put into any space, I want to know what she's going to do with it. I just don't know that I trust her.
Why? What is it about the switch? You don't like the switch?
It's not the switch. I mean, that's how the whole walk away movement started. You know what I mean? People do walk away. Sometimes I just feel like she's not in a space that supports her, so she's trying to find a new space that maybe will. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not discounting it. I mean, she's had some pretty bomb shit to say, so I'm not discounting it. I'm just, she's a politician. Tread lightly.
I think that she always... Here's my thing. I'm probably going to jump out the window with this, and I'm probably, you're going to disagree. I think she always was conservative. I think she ran Democrat to go after, directly to go after Harris. She has a stick. She has a bone to pick with her.
And that could be. I mean, I don't know. I mean, she's never had I don't know. I mean, I've seen some things she said and I stand by it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I mean, that's fact, right? So I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me at this point. Like, we'll see what she does.
Well, here's her on Joe Rogan talking about Kamala Harris just recently.
The things that she's done that are absolutely illegal, like forcing people to work as labor, as cheap labor for the state to fight wildfires after they're supposed to be released.
Exactly.
They did their time.
They did their time, and she kept them in prison to use them essentially as slave labor for the state, putting their own lives at risk forcibly. The thing about my exchange with her on that debate stage, when you take a step back, you got to question, like, all of those things I brought up on her record, you easily Googleable on the first page. When you look at Kamala Harris's record, all of those things, I'd have to dig very deep to see what those issues and problems were with her record. So then the question is, hey, why didn't anybody in the media ask her these questions about the record that she said, I'm so proud of my record as this and as that, as that. All right, cool. Talk about this. This is your record. Talk about these things. No one in the media did that. There's no other candidate on the debate stage who had the balls to bring that up.
I will say that just because they didn't talk about it doesn't mean she moved in the popularity scale.
No, people already know what she's about. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the reality.
The border is secure.
Yeah.
The border
hyena.
is secure. Yeah.
We did it, Joe. We did it.
We did it.
How are voters supposed to be able to make their best informed decision when the media and fellow Democratic candidates?
Whoa. Now I disagree. Now, whoa. Wait a minute. You expect the public to be informed by the media?
She doesn't expect that. She's just talking.
Okay.
You know what's going to tell us the truth? She got a podcast coming out, so we better start listening.
Okay. There it is.
Who are her opponents in that race don't have the courage to ask a very factual question on a record that she says she's proud of.
Do you think that there's a concerted effort to hide that information, or do you think that people recognize that's a trap? Like,
Yes and yes.
if I do that, then it's going to fuck up my future. They're going to not want me to participate in certain things,
Yes
which
and
most
yes.
certainly happened to you.
Yes, that most certainly happened. And that shows the double standard. I don't know why no one had the courage to ask her those questions, why I was the first person to do it. If I had to guess, I would imagine it's because she's got friends in high places. I would guess it's because she's a woman of color and no one wants to be seen as the person attacking a woman of color who's running for president.
Unless you're a Republican.
That part.
They got no issues attacking me on a whole host of fronts. But because, again, she was connected, she's playing the game, she's somebody that the Democratic Party knows that they can control. And that was the thing for me is, and it started years before I ran for president, is once the Democratic, I got elected to Congress and they were like, oh, she's the first this, she's the first that, she's cool, she's going to be one of us, we'll put her forward and, she'll be a great new face of the Democratic Party, all these things. But then very quickly they realized, I've always been an independent Democrat. Every race that I've ever run, whether it was for city council in Honolulu or for the state legislature or for Congress, I was never like the party pick, ever. I never won any of those races with the Democratic Party saying, all right, hey, we're going to back you up. We're going to send you money. We're going to send the troops out to support you. None of that. It was always been a truly grassroots campaign of the people, which is amazing. They found out very quickly, okay, she's not somebody that, the puppet masters can control. She's not just going to read the talking points when she goes on TV or stands on the House floor. And that
right, she's gonna be the Democrat, Donald Trump. She'll be too loose with her mouth, right?
Well, what's the point of doing this if you're just gonna be controlled?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Who cares? Push up against it. Where your balls at? Who cares?
Yeah. I mean, what's the
that's
point?
where things started to take
Right?
a turn, where those who are in those positions of power said, okay, she's somebody who could expose our weaknesses, expose our insecurities, expose the hypocrisies in our arguments, and started to create that distance, and then resorted to the smear and the discrediting and the attacks, and then ultimately total media blackouts.
It's amazing when I talk to people, and it happened recently with Alex Berenson. He was like, "Isn't she crazy?" I'm like, "What's crazy? How's she crazy? Tell me how she's crazy."
No, that's what you thought, Rogan. Stop it. I like when people talk in third party. They'll be like, "Yeah, isn't she crazy?" Yeah, like I was thinking that. No, that's what you were thinking. You just want to see if she really is crazy. I get it. I understand. We all want to measure the crazy, you know.
Well, I mean, she has a vagina, so it's already at 50%.
There it is. There it is, folks. She
Another
couldn't
reason why
hold back
women shouldn't be president.
because they do the switcheroo.
Come on now. Another reason. I saw a comment. Brian wanted to know where you can listen to our podcast, and AJ and his great Apple support told him on Apple Podcast. But just so you guys know, you can listen to it on her website. You can listen on Apple. You can listen on Amazon. I think this is Spotify. So anywhere you can listen
Can you go
to.
back? Can you
Yes.
go back? Back a
What?
word. Back a word. What'd you call Amazon?
Amazon.
Oh, okay, I didn't hear it like that. The first, it was Amazon. That's what I heard.
Okay, Amazon.
That's how you naturally said it. I got it. I heard it.
Whatever.
In HD in these headphones.
Okay. And so anywhere you can listen to a podcast, you can watch it, but you can listen to it on her website also. So I'll have to check that out today at some point and hear what she's saying. I'm just hoping and waiting for the funeral. So anyway, sorry.
What are you wearing for the funeral? What are you wearing?
Well, right now I'm wearing clothes that I'm going to wear out this house because it's a whole 48 degrees outside.
And you
it's
got to
48
go and talk
degrees
to
today.
people, play nice, and be nice.
Yeah,
Be
deposition
professional.
today. But as soon as it does that, I will watch it. I will take my my iPad and I will definitely watch it because tomorrow we're gonna have to speak upon it.
Did you ever have a borderline contempt of court issue? Just curious.
No, shh, we're not talking about that here.
All right. My
Give me
bad.
Mr. Something straight. What the fuck are you doing? Stop it.
All right. Here we go. We got Callie here talking to California Insider from the Epic Times about this, I guess, propaganda, CRT, and what happened. She bought it at one point and then was like, how did you uncleave yourself from this? And here's how she explains, I guess, her walking away story from teaching CRT. Here it is.
Lives, instead of just always playing the victim, why not take control of your own lives? Because this is the greatest country to do that in.
So you mentioned you were yourself kind of like into this ideology. Mm-hmm. How did you get out of it?
Well,
what happened? How did you?
It's, I think a lot of us are waking up. I think that's part of the reason why they have to censor everything so much, because if you have, two brain cells that rub together and you start seeing the other side and learning more of our full history, you start waking up, and it really was during Obama for me. I noticed that Obama was doing things that the mainstream media was not reporting on or not making a big deal out of. And especially, I was just starting out as an educator when he first became our president, and Common Core happened, and I knew it wasn't going to be good for our students. And he also promised that he was going to get rid of all the standardized tests and make it less, No Child Left Behind, which was Bush. He was campaigning on how
Gotta thank Bush for No Child Left Behind.
Bad that was, and then he ended up making it worse and took more power away from we teachers. We weren't allowed to, we had less power because we had to teach these new standards, these Common Core standards that were countrywide, and took more power away from the states. So that really upset me. I was like, why? That was a federal government power grab. Like, states are supposed to be in charge of the education of students, and I think that they're different in every state, and
it would be in charge of the state if the state didn't always rely on the federal government for money. Like, hey, can you help us with this failing school?
But you know what's even interesting about listening to her speak? I find it shocking that it takes these moments for people to realize something is crazy. Like, you're an educator. Like,
wait, it takes what moment? It took the moment.
Like how she's saying, "Oh, the change for me was when Obama came." It's just like, bitch, you knew CRT was whack.
from its inception.
Yeah, like if you didn't, what's wrong with you? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like any person could just like look at it on its face and be like, and why would we teach this? Like, what's the point of this? Right?
Well,
2
I
plus
don't
2
even.
equals 4. Like we understand why you need to know that. But like, why do you need to know CRT? That's just weird to me. But go ahead.
Yeah,
Continue.
I think No Child Left Behind. That's why I said what I said sarcastically. No Child Left Behind, and in my peer view, I believe this started with Bill Clinton. I didn't think it started with Bush, but I don't know. There's like
That's
it's
what
like a
Frankie just
toss up.
said. That's what Frankie just said.
No, that's why I'm responding. That's why I
Oh.
was being sarcastic. But yeah, let me see what else.
Just give all these standards, and I also saw the fruits of it, that our students started failing more because of them. So, and then everyone was just cheering for him. Oh, he's so great, he's so great. And here he was like droning civilians, and we didn't even hear about it in the news. Or he cut food stamps, and I was a leftist at the time, and I was like, he cut food stamps more than any other president of my lifetime. And I was like, why is Obama cutting food stamps? I thought he was supposed to be the one for poor people, you know? And so I just started waking up, and then I really can't stand that the media, the mainstream media, is not honest with the American people, and they're extremely biased. I mean,
yeah, you would have to read Cheryl Atkinson to be able to understand why, because there was a change that happened. All of a sudden, journalists were so in depth with their studies and getting information. When it was the Bush administration revealed a lot, right? He lied. There was some things going on, some nefarious stuff to keep the war going on. And it seems like Obama followed in his footsteps. So it's like the tale of two administrations that look nearly identical, despite the fact they were in different parties, right? So, anyways, I am just as confused as you are with this interview. But ultimately, though, Keisha, are we happy that we have a person like this who is trailblazing and starting school? She actually started a school, charter school. What do you
Well,
think?
I mean, I guess I would have to look at her curriculum and see what she's trying to teach the little people. I'm gonna say this. If you struggled in recognition of dumb things, I'm not sure that I have complete 100% confidence in you.
Oh, you are sharp today. You are
Just saying.
sharp.
Just saying.
Yikes.
I mean, she could really have her eyes could be wide open now. I mean, I don't know. But bitch, she was struggling before. So what makes me think you got it all now?
All right. So are you this critical with all people who walk away, or is it just like what you hear specifically?
No. I'm okay. 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 First off, she didn't just walk away. She's sitting at an interview. Okay. She wants something from this situation, and therefore she's sitting in a chair telling us this fabricated story. Because like you said, what she started a school, so like let me go promote my school. Let me sound as though I'm
So you
making
think this is a selfish endeavor?
seriously
You think this is all about the money, the Benjamins?
for real. Like, come on. I started this school. So let me tell you my story and how I realized that these
Walked
people are
away
morons and
yeah.
how my school's so great and we're gonna learn and it's gonna be free and da 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 da. I mean, what the
Obama
fuck?
bad, Trump good, and
I mean,
let's do
Obama took
that.
away your food stamps. Just saying. I mean, I could be wrong. I mean,
Why are you so critical of the woman? Why are you so critical of her?
okay. If this woman just walked away and like we saw her like at her like local PTA meeting telling the story like at a school board function and somebody caught that on YouTube, I probably would believe it. But this bitch is having a whole sit down interview about it. Stop it. There's something
People.
she wants from it.
All right, let's see what Frank said. People who walk away have to prove themselves. We can't take them at face value. Candace walked away and proved it and continues to prove it daily.
Those words are
Yeah.
very valuable in a lot of ways.
Yeah. I mean, Candace Owens started Brexit, did all that stuff. She could have selfish ambitions too with her walkaway story, right?
Absolutely. She used it to benefit her. I but Candace doesn't lie in that space, right? Like,
She does
she's
not.
honest
No,
about
she
it.
does. Yeah, you're right. Actually, yep. She's
I
like,
mean,
I'm about that paper. I'm about
yeah,
that
like
money.
she's not lying to you. Like, she's literally doing this and it's benefiting her. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that there's something wrong with that. The problem is that she's sitting there like, "Oh, I'm just telling my story and I just want a better world." Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. I mean, maybe that's true. I don't know. Let's look at her charter school curriculum. Let's go visit that school. Let's pretend like we got a kid we
You
about
know,
to enroll. We'll find
I
out
have
quickly.
I have to say, I liked Bush first half of his term, like first 4 years. I did not like him in his last 4 years.
The first
And
4
I
years of
did
September 11th?
Yeah.
Okay.
First 4 years, liked him, thought he was legit. Last 4 years, didn't like him, hated Obama, did not like anything about Obama. And then I was so skeptical about Don, but I knew he was going to win. That was the first thing I said when it's funny enough, when Savory and I used to live together in an apartment with like 6 of us, right? And I remember he was about to have a debate with Hillary. No, this is actually before he went past the primary, right? I said to him, I said, yo, Savory, he makes it past the primary, he's winning the presidency. And he looked at me with this stone cold face because I never talked politics in this house before. I just never talked politics because I didn't believe in it at the time, and
Okay.
I was not a liberal.
What were you?
I was more conservative, but I just didn't call myself that. I didn't call myself a liberal. I didn't call myself a conservative, but I knew in my heart I was nowhere near liberal, right? I was nowhere near that. I didn't believe in that and stuff like that because I grew up in church. Church is not this liberal mindset. It's more conservative and traditionalist.
Are you sure about that? Because I got some family members who go to church every Sunday and they dumb black
They
asses
conservative.
voted
They
for Biden.
conservative. Stop it. Stop
They
it.
black asses voted
They're hanging from
for
the
Biden.
chandeliers. They're doing the
No.
hallelujah hop, and
No.
they're doing all that while still saying, I don't believe in gay marriage. I don't believe in sex before marriage, even though they do all that. That's all conservatism.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
I'm just saying. We have a conservative who doesn't go to church.
That's you talking about AJ.
Yes, I am.
No, I'm not. I don't go to church. I'm just saying that I grew up in church.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
No, I don't know what you mean, but okay.
Wait, where's the confusion? He said,
I have
hallelujah.
family members who grew up in church.
You know what
I
I'm
have
talking
family members who grew up in church, yet they still are Democrats.
Yeah, sure, because that's the way. I don't know what it is that they have a hold on them, but they lean that way while they're still conservative. It's a weird. Have you? Okay, I'll put it like this. Let me ask you this question: have you always been conservative in your life? Your
Yes.
family,
Yes. My parents, yes.
your parents, conservative.
Yes.
The whole
We're
family
smart.
is the. We're,
Who's the whole family? Are you talking about my mom, my dad, me, and my brother?
like the extended family and stuff too.
No, my extended family, like my mom's siblings, are all Democrats. They all voted for Obama. They thought he was the best thing since sliced bread, all of that. But like my kids, like they are conservative. Like they vote red. Even Robert's got it figured out. I mean, he even like Donald Trump. He's like, Mom, like the money was with him, and look at now. I'm like, get it, son. Like, yeah.
Well, he had the winning pedigree. You can tell. I mean, MAGA. Everyone's wearing red hats all of a sudden. That's a winning pedigree, if you ask me.
Well, yeah, like, but I think that like, I mean, if I had to look around in my family, I really believe, like, honestly, it's just like my immediate family, me, my parents, my brother, my dad's even side of his family are vote Democrat.
Oh, so what changed with Victor and Christina? They're smart.
Victor knows what's popping. Okay,
He's a smart
I keep
man.
telling y'all, he lived it. He lived it. He knows what's going on. He knows He's seen it. He's been on the plantation. He's not trying to go back. Okay? He lived it. So he can look at it and see it for exactly
Party
what it
switch.
is.
The party switched, though. The party switched.
Oh yeah, I forgot. My bad.
Cite your sources. Cite your sources.
Victor Lewis Davis Sr. Yeah. So my dad just he can see like from the outside looking in, and being a part of the Jim Crow era and actually living amongst all Black people and seeing how it worked and then seeing how we look now, it's just very easy for him. And he recognized that the Democrats are just here to hold us down and keep us enslaved, and he sees it,
I'll be curious. What would if channel your inner Victor, okay?
Yes.
If Stitch asked him, when was America ever great? What would Victor say?
During the Jim Crow era.
Oh my God. That would JP, Stitch, and all of them on that other side would have an aneurysm.
I'm gonna get my dad on here. I'm gonna get him on here. I'll talk to him today, and I'm gonna set that up, and I'm gonna get Victor on here. I'll get Christina too. She's a firecracker. I just gotta school her up so she don't come out here saying all my business.
Look at AJ. Look, wow.
No, he will. He will tell you when we were segregated and like Black people like had to depend on each other. He goes, we were fabulous. Like we were super successful. Like we had nice homes, nice businesses, everything. He goes, segregation ruined us. Oh, I'll get my dad on here.
You mean desegregation?
Yeah, desegregating. Yes. Yeah. I'll get Victor on here. He'll come on here and tell you guys what's really popping. I just have to be ready because I can't be like cussing and all that. So I got to get it together before my dad.
So what? You got to wear something nice. You got to be like, hey, Dad.
I don't have to wear anything nice, but I got to watch my mouth because I'm not allowed to cuss around my parents.
Even though you call them Victor and Christina.
I will not call my dad Victor. I will call my mother Christina, but no, you do not address dad by his name because that's disrespectful. My mother, we just have a different relationship with her, so we call her Christina. She doesn't respond to mom. If you say mom, she just pretends like she's not a mother.
Look at AJ.
Gotta wear a church outfit. I don't have one, AJ.
I want to let y'all know.
No. My dad will come on here. He's gonna preach to us all. He might open up with a prayer. He might tell us we all need Jesus.
Yes,
he
Lord.
might do that, right? And he might tell you the reason why the world is corrupt because we don't have
Jesus. Glenn in here too. Get Glenn in here too. We'll have a full Bible study.
Yeah, so I'm gonna tell you guys right now. He will quote the scripture like it's coming, okay? But what he will do is he'll be very honest with you. I'll have to get my brother on here too, because then you guys will just to see the two of us. If I could call my brother right now and let him tell you, you guys would die. He'd be like,
Kathy, no, nobody wants segregation. It's just the answer to the question that I proposed. That was all. No one's advocating for segregation.
No. That's just what my dad would say. Like, because a lot of people like to think during that time, it was really bad for Black people, but it really wasn't.
It was bad on the outside of the community, not inside. Whereas today it's bad on the inside of the community and good on the outside.
And also, like he said, my dad makes it very clear that the problem that he has is that like there was more white people that helped than there was that didn't. So like people like to make it sound like all white people were racist and prejudiced at the time, but my dad said no, that wasn't the case. There were more white people who were kind, who helped, who were respectful, and then there was just a select few on the outside that were racist, and that's what we see now. He goes, it hasn't changed in that dynamic. He goes, people are just focused on the past. I should get my Nana on here. She picked cotton, as you know. I mean, my Nana is 80 something. But I should get my Nana on here. She'll tell you too.
She picked cotton as a profession, not as a
like
slave.
that was her job. Yeah, I can have my Nana. Like, I mean, you figure my great grandmother just passed, so we had 6 generations at one point. So I just talked to my Nana just the other day. So I could even get my Nana to come on here one morning and just tell us a little bit of what it was like for her growing up. So, like, I mean, these people are whack. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, that I remember when Tim Scott said that statement one time. He says, from my great grandfather to see me become the senator on the Republican side, which is the side of where most Black people were on after the Civil War. He said we had a generation that went from picking cotton to becoming a United States senator. I was like, wow,
And that's
to put
what's
it in
deep
that
about it.
perspective. Yeah, that
Right,
was
and that's what's deep
beautiful.
about it, right? So you go from picking cotton to college graduates. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's crazy, but yet people still want to talk about their ancestors. Well, who are your ancestors really, you mutts?
You and AJ, you guys are firecrackers.
What? It's the truth. I mean, seriously, like who are your ancestors, mutt? Who? Who? I could trace my ancestors back. Okay.
Yeah, I could see how you could trace your ancestors by your rainbow dreads. Yeah.
That part.
All right, so I want to address something here in this next segment.
No.
Is the whole idea of this extremism that is not even that the left wants to still hold on to, while the right is just seemingly going up. You keep talking about that, we'll talk about real issues. See, well, that's debatable because you've revealed some things to me where you're like, why are we talking about this and not about this real issues? And I think that's having the real mindset, and also you have the inner mind of it being an elected official as well.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you're like, why are we talking about these ideas and not talking about what's actually happening on the ground? You'll be good as a freaking strategist. You know that, right?
Mm.
More
Let's
practical,
see.
more okay. All right, let's look at this. This is a guy who's running to take Elise or Stefanik. Yeah, Elise Stefanik's role. She's like a big Republican, wants to take over the chair and stuff like that. And he has a few things to say about Miss Stefanik here.
You worked in the National Security Council under Trump, under Obama, former CIA officer. So
look at
tell
who's sitting
us
next
about
to him.
January 6th.
Look at his face.
How
You
that
see his-
impacted you.
Wait a
Were you
minute.
watching it on television? Former
Look at his
CIA.
face. Look at him.
Yeah. Stupid. Hurry
Look
up and
at
hit
him.
play. You know my time is running out.
Officer.
Hit play.
So tell us about January 6th and how that impacted you. Were you watching it on television?
I was, and it was
Then who wasn't
disheartening, to say the
impacted?
least, to see this assault, not just against a building and the largest assault against law enforcement in our nation's history, but an assault against our democracy, a democracy that I swore an oath to protect and defend. I spent nearly 15 years at the CIA protecting our democracy, our freedom from international terrorists and extremism, and to see extremism rise up here at home and to be emboldened by folks like Congresswoman Stefanik, whose lies led to the events of that day. She's now become the chief defender of January 6th, and I think poses probably on this ballot in November, the single greatest and most important threat to our democracy. The reason why we have this ongoing threat can largely be tied to her. It was her actions in the aftermath of January 6th, stabbing Liz Cheney in the back to take her position, to create.
You're going to mention losers? Liz Cheney is a loser. And you
know
want
what
to win
this
a
sounds
seat.
like?
You're a
Yeah,
loser.
this sounds like the lady who said that the NFL was racist because Tua got hurt.
Oh!
A bunch of black men running into each
Hold
other
up.
with white owners and white coaches.
Hold up. Hold up. You can't leave without touching that. You can't leave without touching that. You talking about Miss Alex Cross over here running her dumb mouth with this fella right here who I used to like on the 6 on ESPN, talking his mess with Jamila Hill, but he's here by himself because
I mean, at least she looks better than Joy Reid.
Oh, Gotti.
Every Thursday, being a fellow sports expert myself. Mike, I couldn't wait to get you on the show today. And
I'm here to get my insight from you so that I can pass it on to my own. That's why I'm here. Yes.
Well, I will defer just this time. I will defer to your expertise because you.
All right, stop it with the dick measuring contest. Let's go. Let's go. We ain't got all day. I'm bored.
You are fresh off a latest trip. You're on the road all the time now, covering the NFL, which I love to see. But I have to tell you, Mike, when I saw that the hit on Thursday from the Colts player, from Hines, and when I saw the video of the player previous, I thought about you because this is a ridiculous occurrence in the NFL. So I have two questions/issues here. One, the fact that these concussions even occur. Like that seems like it should be hazardous and something has to be done about that. And two.
Wait. Why would concussions happen in the NFL?
I have no idea. It's flag football, so I'm
it's flag football. That's
yes,
why.
I'm not
This
sure why
shouldn't
it's
be-
happening. Yeah.
Got it. Makes sense.
what the league is doing about it, because the fact that a doctor saw this man, what we all saw, and said, yes, he's cleared to play in the next game. Your thoughts?
Well, I'll take the second part first. The Players Association, the union's perspective aligns with yours. That there's no way that Tua Tagovailoa should have been.
Whoa!
Tua Tagovailoa. Damn, he said that perfect.
Can we reel it back? I want you guys to hear something real quick. Ready? Let's hear it back. Let's hear it back.
Said, yes, he's cleared to play in the next game.
I want to see if you guys caught it.
Well, I'll take the second part first. The Players Association, the union's perspective aligns with yours. That there's
aligns with Mrs. Cross.
Yes, with yours.
So they're just as dumb as she is.
Yeah,
that's number one.
Yeah.
And if they did, then why was Tua playing?
I mean, okay, because
does anybody want to take a shot in the dark? Who is the leader of the players' union in the NFL? I'll give you the race of that person, a black person. So why was he looking out for his fellow black man? And
he's
why
not
was
black? Because he's not black. He's Samoan.
Okay, got it. Whoa, you talking about Tua? Damn, you gotta hit him with that. They black too. If Puerto Ricans are black, Samoans are black too.
Yeah, I know. I'm just being,
So, anyways, you lost me there, Michael. You lost me there. If the players' union agree with Mrs. Cross, then they would have got on the phone Monday morning and said, no.
No.
That part.
Okay.
No way that Tua Tagovailoa should have been re-entered into that game. He should not have been allowed to go back in that game, no matter how many times he said himself it was his back. Players have to oftentimes be protected from themselves. And if he showed a case of gross motor instability the way he did, the way he was stumbling against the Bills, full stop, you're out of the game. What the union wants to do is remove from the current concussion protocol the language that allows a team of spotters and unofficial.
Okay. So they don't agree with Mrs. They agree with Mrs. Cross in theory.
Yes.
In theory.
But
in practicality, they didn't
don't
agree with her on Monday.
Yes.
So that's why Tua still played on Thursday. So they now are
because he want to get paid next year. AJ,
that's true. Yeah. So check this out. Let me drive this home. So just like everybody else, they reacted once they saw on Thursday. Now the players union wants to be proactive and says, hey, we want to remove this clause because we don't like the way this looked. Just like everybody on the media says, I don't like the way that looked. Hello. And he wants to play. He wants to get paid next year. And I don't fault the man for it. If he's going to get hurt, if he's going to go, he's going to get paid, right? But I hope somebody talks to this young man and says, at least keep your life, though. You know what I mean?
His mama.
You don't want to be all a millionaire and a paraplegic. You know what I mean? You
don't want to be a millionaire and dead. So let's keep it pushing.
Facts.
Unaffiliated, neurotrauma consultants and team trainers to determine whether or not that gross motor instability was in fact neurologically caused.
Oh, God.
The union wants to remove that gray area out and say, if somebody's stumbling like that, like you saw Nyheim Hines this past Thursday stumbling, you're out of the game. And that's what happened on Thursday. He was out of the game, full stop. Well, the NFL is saying, well, let's see if there's a better way of doing this because the process is very much working. The protocols are working. And the reason the league is not so cut and dry for the league is if they change the protocol, it comes with an admission that Tua Tagovailoa was mishandled. So there's the politics behind the scenes. The players' union's like, that was an error in judgment, should have never happened. It should never happen again. The concussion protocol should be the floor and not the ceiling for player care.
Yeah.
Players should be treated like patients and not players, whereas the league is like, hey, this is working fine. He said it was his back. The protocols were followed. We did nothing wrong. So there's some politics and some tension behind the scenes here.
Yeah. And just for the folks outside.
This is terrible. This description and this fake appealing to some legality and legal theory too, like should be the ceiling. What are we talking about? The Supreme Court now all of a sudden? Bro, and no, if they do uncleave this loophole, that the players union is looking for, guess what comes with it? Sitting down and renegotiating. That's why they're not looking at doing it now, dum-dum. They'll probably push this to the off season.
And you know
It's
what
not about
else?
an admission of guilt.
And not only that, but how do we make change? We see the flaws in the policy and we say, oh, wait, that's not working as good as we thought it was. So we need to revisit this. It's
All
not
right.
about being guilty. It's just seeing that there's a flaw in it and it needs to be corrected. It's that simple.
But listen to what he also said. He said that the NFL saying it's generally working. It's mostly working. So we're going to change it because of this isolated incident. That would, okay. How about I put this on your lap? How about I put this on your lap? We have a division game, a division series going for the game right before the player to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And you have an instance like this. Guy gets hit, looks like he's stumbling, and he goes, "Oh, you're out of the game." He's in the locker room. He's like, "Yo, I'm fine. I'm actually doing good. I'm throwing. I'm doing all right. No vomiting." Doctor clears him in the office. He can't even come back in the game to win, to get his team over the hedge to the Super Bowl.
Right.
That could be a deciding factor. Maybe a couple of
shouldn't matter.
plays, maybe a couple of cycles, maybe a couple of downs. Who knows? Maybe that could be discussed. He wants to go to the extreme and says, "You're out of the game."
First
Like,
of all,
no.
we already know why this conversation is happening right now between these two brown skinned people. Let that stupid woman speak, and then we'll know why they're saying what they're saying.
Okay.
Side of us who don't follow the sport as closely as you and I do, of course. I gotta say, Mike, the optics just look bad. To see all these black men crashing into each other with a bunch of white owners, white coaches, and the complete disregard of black bodies and black life. I mean, it just represents a larger issue, and I think that's the problem. And with the NFL ratings through the roof, you know, I just wonder what.
How do we get there? Hold up. How do we get there?
As you and I do, of course. I gotta say, Mike, the optics just look bad. To see all these black men crashing into each other with a bunch of white owners, white coaches, and the complete disregard of black bodies and black life. I mean, it just.
Wait. Did they just start the NFL? Did they just start this?
You know how when your mama say, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all.
Can
Listen
you
here.
please say it? Please? Oh my
This
God.
stupid bitch here. When I saw this video,
I need a
she
moment
makes
of
it sound
right
like
here.
it's free. She makes it sound like they just went out into the streets and was like, "Hey, you black boy, come here. I want you to take this ball and I want you to run it down here and I want you to get hit, smack, tumble, and you better not complain while you do it." Okay, stupid bitch. These men have been playing football since they were boys. They're getting paid millions of dollars to do this sport, and you think that they don't care? You know what's really ignorant about it too is that the franchise is useless if the team isn't winning. Why do they want their star players injured? Why do they want these people that they've paid millions of dollars to get not to be on the field? And she thinks it has to do. So there's no white people playing football. I mean, can somebody, can we do a poll on that? How many white men are in NFL? Close your mouth.
I can't believe what I just heard. This is so stupid to me that it's like, what are you talking about? Do you know how many kids dream to get there? I have friends of mine play D1 football, dying to get in there. I want to be I'll be on the practice squad. I don't care. I just want to be close enough to get there.
She just said, rewind it back one more time for this ignorant ass woman to speak one more time. Let's
I gotta say, Mike, the optics just look bad. To see all these black men crashing into each other with a bunch of white owners, white coaches, and the complete disregard of black bodies and black life. I mean, it just represents a larger issue.
What's that larger issue?
I'm so done. I'm so checked out. I'm done.
I don't want to do any more.
She
of this show.
literally just said
I don't do any more of this
that there's
show.
a bunch of black men, black bodies, white coaches, white owners who don't care about black lives. That's literally what just came out of her mouth. If she's not the most ignorant person being allowed to speak, I don't know what is. Crashing into each other. There's no skill or strategy.
Yeah, because they're walking around with a whip, telling you better do that, boy. Like, what is going on here? Who's making these men? You know what? I want to do it because I want to make the money. I like that.
Okay, hold on. First of all, football is a sport that is played by youth all the way up. They've gotten scholarship. It's a sport. I told you, she's literally making it sound like people just walked out in the street and was like, hey, you black boy, come here, black boy. Get your black ass on this field and you better run that ball fast down the street, black boy. And if you don't, you will not be eating dinner tonight.
I don't even know what to say.
That's what she just said. That part.
Like I bet you her husband is a football player.
Well, no, she's very well versed in the sport. So she has a complete understanding and an expertise of knowledge to understand that these white coaches, because there's no black coaches, and these white owners, and there's no, and I just want you guys to know that there's no white football players, despite how light their skin is, despite how long or straight their hair is, they're all black, and they're just crashing into each other. Tua is Samoan. Okay, I know.
70% of the NFL is black. 30%. That means we have to do the math for them.
Well, every kicker is white. Just saying.
I don't understand.
There it is, right
what's
there.
Going on. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Why? All right. Now what else does she say out of her dumb
I don't know.
And I think that's the problem. And with the NFL ratings through the roof, I just wonder what incentive do they have to just be better? I mean, you saw the whole issue with black.
What incentive do they have? What incentive does the NFL have to be better? I don't know. There was a case that started out in the mid 2000s that was concluded just a couple of years ago, which is $1 billion lawsuit that ex-players that haven't played the game in like 20, 30 years. That's the incentive. Because they don't want to go back to court. That's the incentive. So what are we talking about here?
No, let's have this conversation. The incentive is the NFL is a $1 billion corporation.
Multi-billion.
The incentive is to keep these multi-million-dollar players that they've had these contracts for on the field and healthy. The incentive is to win because that brings money to your city and into your team. This funky trifling cow is sitting here mooing, talking about the NFL has no incentive to protect black men and black bodies and black lives. That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my entire life. No one wants to see someone stumbling around on the field. But it doesn't matter what color they are. It's like a human nature thing. And the fact that she can go on TV and say these things is asinine. She has a whole show that she literally, her and her counterpart who was seconding her motion, spewing this bullshit into the universe. You've got to be kidding me. Like, come on. She literally broke it down to race. Is there anything that's not about race? Name one thing that's not about race.
I'm lost.
I know.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, this is crazy.
Coaches, etc. So, but look, we're going to run out of time because I want to get your opinion on something else. I know the NFL is your jam. Go ahead.
What you said. That's all I want to say. Go ahead.
All right.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Jones. All right, Mr. Jones.
Well, anyways, bowel movements are not about race. They can be.
Boy. I know you gotta go.
Look, on that note, it's my time to check the fuck out. But let me just say this right now. The NFL with their white owners and white coaches don't give a damn about these black men smashing into each other on the field in Black lives.
Thank you, Keisha. It's unreal. We'll be back after this, folks. Hello and welcome back to the Morning Fix Live Radio Show. I'm your host, Macho. It is Hump Day. Here we had a great show. It is 11:32 Eastern Standard Time, 10/12/2022. It is 69 degrees. Actually, a beautiful day here in New York City. Not a cloud in the sky. For those who haven't gotten the Morning Fix merch, head on to AJ's Rant Room at ajsrantroom.com. Make sure you grab the Morning Fix t-shirt, grab your Morning Fix mug, and if you're looking around, and grab a few other things. But heck, because if you spend $100 or more, you get free shipping. So, also, if you want to support this channel, just go send me some Cash App. Macho Fix. Very simple. But yeah, in any event, thank you. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you like and subscribe and click that notification and head on to the Twitch account, Morning Fix, where I got all the wonderful links there that you can start following today. Not tomorrow. Today. So again, I really don't understand some of this rhetoric that goes on because we continue to demonize a lot of things. And I don't understand why in the racializing, we then add the demonization. You cannot justify that statement just to strong arm your will, or you feel bad because you saw a person of color, a black man, getting hurt and saying, no, I don't want to be hurt. You got to look at the guy's history. Look at him in college. Look at what he sustained, all the injuries there. He probably has a family that he says, I don't care about injuries for. But someone's just got to pull him aside and says, hey, your life is more valuable. You'll figure it out. Just don't put your life on the line. But we understand that you're trying to get your money. But we cannot bring this to a real polarizing place and simply racialize this and then justify it by saying, this is because the white men who are in control of all of this, just like seeing black men hit each other, collide with each other, beat on each other. Basically, what she's saying without saying it is kill each other. That's not what they're having this sport for. This is an opportunity not only for the consumer, but for the player to make their money while the consumer becomes entertained. Everyone around wins. This is capitalism. This is the beauty of it. This is a meritocracy. Only the best can play in this game. And those guys don't feel like this is slavery. Those guys love it. There's a reason why Tom Brady can't leave the game, because he's addicted to the game. Brett Favre couldn't leave the game because he was addicted to the game. When Peyton Manning had that severe injury in his neck, severe, folks, career ending, he couldn't leave the game because he was addicted to the game. There's something about putting on that uniform, going into work ethic, training, learning, strategizing, and being victorious in all of that, while also being rich, might I add. There's something about that that draws you in. I would tell you, I would ask Alex Cross and Michael Smith, what about slavery would do that? Since you keep comparing it. What about slavery would be so addictive to keep drawing the slave in? Nothing. That's why they wanted to break out of their chains and run from it. That's why thousands of men and women escaped from it. Because they want nothing to do with it. And shame on you guys for making that gross, weird conflation. Very, very disgusting. Now, if you want to see some changes, sure, be logical about it. Stop being emotional about it. Because you don't know what this sport was able to do, who was able to save and give an opportunity. Shaquille O'Neal's kids will never have to want for anything. That's why he told his son, I don't want you playing basketball. His son is willingly wanting to play basketball. He said, I don't want you to play. We need more doctors. We need more lawyers, which we don't, but that's what he said. So again, shame on these two. Shame on these two for doing that. It's ridiculous. All right, I want to get back to that video here on this fool here talking about the extremism in the Republican Party.
Messaging going forward and embrace of this ultra MAGA agenda that poses this enduring threat to our democracy.
So how is it campaigning? And you obviously have a sense of the disinformation that's out there. What is it like on the campaign trail trying to convince voters of what you're trying to say?
Yeah, well, I think people are tired. They're tired of the extremism. They're tired of the
Are they
division.
hearing you?
Certainly.
What are you hearing?
We're building a strong...
They're not tired of the division. They're tired of the kind of division. Don't generalize it. They're tired of specific things. Be more specific. They're not tired of the extremism. They're tired of the specific kind of division. Because extremism, I can't trust it from people like that. For those who point it out, I can't trust you. Because it takes one to know one. You ever heard that statement? It takes an extremist to know one. At the end of the day, it's specific kinds of divisive markers. Saying if I don't believe in Black Lives Matter and therefore I'm considered an agent of white supremacy, it's that kind of divisiveness that does not help this country. Saying to people who are questioning the 2020 elections, who are questioning the integrity of the election and calling them conspiracy theorists and a threat to democracy, that adds to the divisiveness. Because you're going to tell them what they think, what to think and what to see. You're going to tell them you're not allowed to question that. And when in America, you're not allowed to question these things, folks? When? Just like you can question that everything could be rooted in white supremacy, why can I question up against that? I don't get it. Maybe someone on replay, maybe someone here right now could explain that to me. It's incredible, some of these things that are said. Just a little bit more here.
Coalition, not just of Democrats who are pretty mobilized to defend our democracy, but independents and Republicans as well. We've got a lot of Republicans who are supporting our campaign who don't feel like they have a home in this ultra MAGA wing that Stefanik is leading. They have a sense of political homelessness. So we're creating this coalition that can really build together this.
All right, we're going to see this ultra MAGA wing. What is this ultra MAGA wing he speaks of? Well, let's hear it from Elise Stefanik herself when she spoke to, I think it's Trey Gowdy. I don't know if that's how you spell it. Gowdy? I think that's how you spell it. Gowdy. I don't know how to spell his name. I don't know, whatever. You guys can bloop that. I don't care. All right. Let's hear from Elise Stefanik herself how ultra MAGA she is.
Well, we have 30 days, and there's so much at stake this election cycle. When I travel around my district in upstate New York, we hear from voters about historic inflation, gas prices and home heating bills continuing to increase since Joe Biden took office. We hear of the crime crisis in New York State, and of course, there's breaking news about shootings that occurred just outside of our gubernatorial Republican nominee, Lee Zeldin, who's a colleague of mine in Congress. And then, of course, the border crisis. Republicans are in a once-in-a-generation.
We have almost several million people who cross into this country illegally. We have a new state, old state. This used to be a state that had the murder capital. Now is once again, after all these years, the murder capital of the country. We heard 65 or so or more bodies that this person in just a few months had to go and speak at their funeral in Louisiana. We hear the bodies totaling up in Philadelphia, in New York. We hear the shootings, the slashings, the muggings, the assaults, all of those things. Where's their ultra MAGA? You have an insecure border. You don't have a strong security force and enforcement of the police. And just so I want to remind everyone out there, there was an article written just a few months ago how the Council of Philadelphia has decided that they're going to get rid of routine traffic stops. That's right, routine traffic stops. That means majority of the traffic stops in which what? Even Ted Bundy was caught under a broken tail light. The cops won't be able to stop you for it. Think about that. And that's just a recipe for disaster. But to people like the guy that you just saw speaking, will tell you that Elise Stefanik, it's that kind of extremism that Americans are tired of. No, mister. They're tired of the fact that things are not the way they were. I know what safety looks like. I know what it felt like. I know what money and money security looks like. I know what it felt like. My house is breaking down. I don't have money to fix it. My gas is through the roof. I can't even fill my tank. I know all those things. These are practical things that everyday Americans are dealing with. And it sounds to me that the right wing of the party, the Republicans, are the ones who are looking into those issues. Let's continue to hear her.
An opportunity to win the largest majority since the Great Depression. If we pick up 35 seats, we will make history, Trey, and I'm so excited. We have the most talented, recruited class of candidates who will be the most diverse group of newly elected members of Congress who are Republicans ever in our nation's history.
All right, Congresswoman, you and I sat beside each other on committee and on the floor, so you know how cynical I am, and that cynicism, I'm going to ask you a question rooted in that. So House Republicans unveiled their commitment to America recently, but Joe Biden's going to be in the White House until January 2025, no matter what. So what's a realistic way to balance, this is what we want to do legislatively, but we don't have a president that's going to sign what we want to do?
Well, first of all, the commitment to America is focused on four major pillars. We want an economy that's strong, a nation that's safe, a future that's built upon freedom, and a government that's accountable. When it comes to the economic issues, stopping the trillions and trillions of wasteful, reckless spending that have fueled this inflation crisis, Republicans will do that.
All right. So she cares about the border, cares about how much money, cares about the gas, cares about how much money is being spent aimlessly. Right? Cares about inflation. I'm sorry. Where is the ultra MAGA in her? Other than the fact that she was what? She was supported by the Trump administration, Donald Trump himself. To demonize a person is to demonize a party. Rather than to confront the rhetoric and to stand toe-to-toe with the rhetoric, you're going to demonize the person and demonize the party so you stay in control. Hence why we're going to continue having this problem, which in turn is just having people walk away from the party. Look at it. Tulsi Gabbard is no outlier. Many people, in fact, millions of people just now registered just before the midterm elections. 1 million people that we know of that's just registered for the Republican Party. Just think about that. That's not a mistake. It's a reality that we have to deal with and we have to confront. So at some point, we're going to have to realize some things, Democrats. At some point, you're going to have to understand that your policies are just garbage. They're not working. And you can keep calling these people extremists, MAGAs, threat to democracy, but they are still moving to the right. Why don't you go to the 34th District of Texas and ask Mayra Flores how her district is looking? How are those people going to vote? Looks like they're going to vote Republican again. Looks like they're going to sustain her seat out there in the 34th District, Corpus Christi area of Texas. So at any event, these folks can say what they want. They could use that extremist ideology. But I tell you one thing, the Republicans are rolling up their sleeves, despite the fact that there's some Republicans we don't agree with. It doesn't matter, because they're still trying to reveal some things just like this. And here's the last segment of, before we get to the talking of the funeral today. Marjorie Greene Taylor, despite what we all may say about her and how she can jump out the window with her thoughts, she wants to reveal something really, really nefarious that's going on in our country. Another practical means of something we need to combat. Check this out. Here's a person who transitioned as a young person and is now speaking up against it in the congressional steps.
Over the past decade, there has been as high as a 4,000% increase in children being referred to so-called gender clinics across the United States. I was one of these children. My name is Chloe Cole, and I am an 18-year-old former transgender child. I transitioned from the age of 12 up until 16 when I realized it all was a lie.
What was that age? I transitioned at 12. You see, the Democrats are totally for this. The Republicans are not. The Democrats are okay with conceptual or having concept spending, I should say. The Republicans are more about practical needs need to be met. The Democrats care about our neighbors overseas. The Republicans care about the Americans right here. America first. Let's take care of our home first, then we can take care of our neighbors. What good are we if we can't take care of our homes and we got 12-year-olds transitioning because they're unsure of themselves when all they may need is someone to build them up, not break them down, like we physically see doctors transitioning these kids. Shame on those doctors. We'll continue.
Lie. My story is a cautionary tale. Children and parents across the country have been caught off guard by gender ideology. Discussions about transgenderism and gender identity went from being a relatively benign social oddity to a doctrine that has invaded nearly every academic, medical, and educational institution, seemingly overnight. How did we get to this point? How did we get to the point where nearly every pediatric institution in the country considers it best practice to remove the healthy breast tissue of children while administering drugs typically used to chemically castrate high-risk sex offenders?
You know what it is because, again, it takes too much work to build you up. It takes less amount of work to break you down. This is what we see throughout our entire culture on the left. When you sit down and see some of these TikToks, I want you guys to take it upside yourself. Just sit there. Think for a second. Think the opposite of what the live is saying or what the people are saying. On both sides of the argument, right, left, conservative, liberal, doesn't matter. And say, does it hold weight? As my college professor once discussed over a book called Does the Center Hold? This was my philosophy professor. Does the center hold? Simply put, does the center hold? And this argument, if this young person at 12 years old felt insecure about themselves, why is the first thought to break them down? Why not build them up? Build them up. Hey, what are you feeling? What are you experiencing? How could we help you through this process? The last thing I would assume is that a 12-year-old would say, why don't you switch around my body parts? I want you guys to really sit in that and think in that.
Raising these important questions is not bigoted, and the refusal of activists to give straightforward answers should be seen as a major red flag. People across the entire political spectrum who believe that this practice is morally wrong have been told that they are fascists or bigots for even questioning this atrocity. Others have been convinced by self-proclaimed gender specialists that this is the only treatment that will not end in your child committing suicide. I believe Americans deserve to know the truth about this radical and perverse ideology, marketed as necessary and life-saving healthcare. I was only 12 years old when I told my parents that I was a boy. Like many parents in that situation, they didn't have a clue what to do. They were scared and desperate for answers. They wanted what every parent wants for their child, for me to be okay and thrive. At 13 years old, on the advice of so-called medical professionals, I was put on puberty-blocking medication, and only a month later, I was given my first testosterone injection. The gender clinic presented my parents with the classic false dichotomy regarding children with gender dysphoria. Would you rather have a dead daughter or a living son?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But this is extremism. This is what the left touts as extremists. Because Marjorie Greene Taylor, if you guys will see this, you'll see the rest of this video. She's the one that put this at the forefront. They kept saying that this is not happening. These are anecdotals. Oh, it's happening. And it's happening in a large scale. And I love that response. Here's the ultimatum. You rather have a dead daughter or a living son? Why do we have to be pushed to the edge of that kind of thinking? Perhaps it's that kind of thinking that led to the movement of BLM. It's that kind of extreme thinking, rather than being accountable for people who break the law, who terrorize other people in their own communities. And by community, we're going to assume race. We're going to assume the black community, the white community, because we're all still living in our segregated bubbles all of a sudden. As if we still can't cross certain lines. It's that kind of extremism why some people don't want other people in their neighborhoods. Call it racist, call it whatever you want. I don't care. Take that up with your maker. Why are we still pushing the needle towards this kind of ultimatum, this kind of extremism? I'd rather have a country that's absolutely free and separated from this deep-rooted ground of white supremacy. This needs to stop. It needs to end right now. So we need to get rid of the Constitution. We need to rewrite the Constitution. We have the large body of people. We have people of color now that have freedom. We have women, they have rights, and they should be all having a say when it comes to the Constitution. Whatever happened to rectifying a past deed that may have not accounted for other people, but we can simply take that document and say, hey, it may have not been written with me in mind, but I'm going to make it with me in mind today. Look at how far we've come. One day we didn't have rights, today we do. And the mere fact that we still have to jocks for position for this tells me that we have a society that does not care about progress. They don't care about progress. Why do we have a progressive caucus? Why do we have people who call themselves liberal? What are you free from? Because all I keep hearing is grievance after grievance after grievance, how America did this, America did that, America, America, America. Oh, America. At some point, we're going to have to face ourselves in the mirror. As Michael says, I'm staring at the man in the mirror. We have to look at ourselves introspectively. We have to dig deep inside of ourselves. Don't create people around you who feel entitled to get, but build them to give. The more we give, the more we all benefit. Every person that goes into a stadium today is giving towards that seat, giving towards that contract, paying towards that person you get to see every Sunday, every day in baseball, every other day in hockey. And we're all supporters. We all feel like we're close to that group. The last thing we want to hear from those people who play that sport that we pay into, that we're slaves. That's the last thing we want to hear, because there's a brokenness in that relationship. There's a brokenness in that exchange. I'm paying to see you because you have skills that I don't have. You have a uniqueness and an ability that I don't have. You get to perform in a way that I can never perform. So I just want to see how you're doing it, because how you do things inspires me. I don't think any modern person in today's era will look at slavery and say, it inspires me, or I'm addicted to it. That's a sport I love having. We need to get that out of our minds and start acting like real progressive people that we think we are. Because the traditionalists, the conservatives, the right wing are looking a lot more progressive than the quote-unquote progressive caucus. And that's it, folks, with the Morning Fix Live radio show. Go to ajsrantroom.com and get yourself a Morning Fix t-shirt and mug. You only got a few more days till you get yourself one. We'll be right back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so don't miss it. You never know what me and Inked will say.